Hello, everyone, and welcome to the sixth episode of the Teen Talk podcast. And today I'm here with once again a very special guest. I'm here with Arya Shah. So, Arya, welcome.
Thank you, Abir. I'm so happy to be here.
So, I know I say this like every session and every episode, but this episode is actually something I've been waiting for like a really long time. And the one of the main reason being is that Arya approached me for an episode, and I really appreciate when people approach me for anything, whether it's an episode or a webinar, whatever. It really does make me happy. And another thing I want to say, just a brief intro about Arya, is that Arya actually organized the Arya is actually in the same university as me, and she's the president of the theater club, and she organized the Lamp of Wonders play last year. And honestly, it was executed like A to Z, everything so well. Like, even though I couldn't make it, but it was so nice and so well organized and everything. So tell us about, the theater club play and how it all worked out. And you mentioned that your parents started believing in you more after that play. So tell us more about it.
The theater club was started in September of 2023, so last year, as a sort of a passion project. It was co-founded by me and two of my friends. The Lamp of Wonders was sort of our adaptation of Aladdin. And when we started, we really weren't sure where to go with it because the theater club was founded by us, so it was very new. And the university was also kind of navigating through how to support a club in such a way. And this was my first big project as like a project manager, as a creative head, creative lead, director, producer, all of that. So it was definitely very, very nerve-wracking. But I had a brilliant team to support me with it, and that's how we were able to execute it the way it went. With theater, as I mentioned, yeah, it was the sort of stepping stone that got my parents to start believing in me because I've always been like into creative fields like art, performing arts, script writing, directing, film, all of that. But my parents are from STEM. So they've always had a different sort of vision for me because we have a family business and they've always expected me to like take over it, which obviously it's a great legacy. So I don't want to let that go. I want to take care of it. I want to take it forward. But I also know that foregoing your passion feels like giving up a part of like who you are because it's part of your identity. So, like, I obviously wanted a chance to prove myself to them as well. So when they came to watch this play, I was really scared that they would just look at it like another waste of time or just like another hobby. But when the play finished, I saw them and like, okay, this is going to sound so cliche, but my dad, he was so emotional. He had like tears in his eyes. And like, seeing them that way, it really made me feel like, okay, my creativity has some sort of an outlet and it could lead somewhere meaningful. Like I can achieve something that makes a difference in people's lives.
Honestly, I loved hearing about it. And you mentioned this is a very on spot question, but I have two questions actually, two follow up questions. Is that
Okay.
number one, you said that your parents are from STEM. And I think, I don't know if this is a thing in like all cultures, but I know it's a thing in the Desi culture where when you mentioned your parents are from STEM. And that just makes it even more difficult because usually in like Indian Pakistani culture it's a thing that parents want their kids to enter that field too. And you said you have a family business as well, so you're in like a very difficult situation where you're just like, oh my god, what do I do? But I think it's very unfortunate where like you said, the creative industry is unfortunately a very low paying industry. Like, for example, just I think today or yesterday, I came across this internship, which was a 3 week internship for I think social media and dance, where it was literally 500 dirhams per month. And I mean, if you're living with your parents, like, you can at least do something with the 500. But with
Yeah.
500, even like that's a starting price for groceries for some people. So honestly, that takes me to my second question, which is, what if someone really, really is passionate about something in the creative industry, like say journalism or writing or something, but they're just like, oh my god, this is like a really low paying career and my parents are not going to accept me and my parents are, not going to support me much. What advice would you give to someone in that situation? Because you pretty much are in that situation. So what advice would you give to someone like that?
First of all, I would say I'm going to try not to make this sound very mainstream because I want this to be advice that actually helps people. But first of all, like you need to have that self belief, like for sure. If you don't believe in your own project and if you don't believe in your own cause, then you're going to find it very difficult to convince others to believe or invest in whatever you're doing, be it in terms of like monetary value or even them working for it or anything of that sort. So I think self belief and faith is very important. But you also have to be realistic about what you're aiming for. Like, it's very easy to start romanticizing the idea and be like, I'm just gonna follow my dreams. But in the current world, like, you know how competitive it is. It's so cutthroat. So, like, yes, you should pursue your passion, but you need to make sure that you have financial security and stability. When I look at creative fields that excite me, if I look at a job opportunity that's like very interesting, I really want to do this, I always make sure to, kind of find that balance and see if it's fulfilling in terms of monetary value. And you need to know where you need to like draw the line. So if you're working on a project for, say, months, years, whatever, but you feel like it's not picking up, then maybe you need to stop. You need to figure out a way to be economical before it starts draining you as well as your resources. So I feel like you need to maintain a balance between knowing when to like accelerate and like give it your all and also knowing when to prioritize financial well-being.
Absolutely. I love how you said that you need to have self belief in yourself, because I think that's one thing that's very important. Like, even with you, you said that you started the theater club as just a passion project with some of your friends, and I think self belief, you said, is what got you going. So I want to ask another question: is that when you said it was a new project in the university, and like how did you was there ever a time in that journey where this this thought just came up and you were like, man, what if I can't do it? And like what if it just all doesn't work out? Or was there ever a time like that, and how did you tackle it?
I would say honestly, every week I would think, oh my God, what if this play doesn't happen? Like, what if it just gets cancelled? And we faced so many obstacles in the way because we had so many people involved. It was like almost a crew of 50 plus people, right? So we had so many roadblocks in the way. Like sometimes the cast wouldn't be available, sometimes some prop would break, and then we had transportation issues, issues, problems with the venue. And then it was supposed to rain on the day of the play, and all of our props were cardboard in a truck that was like fully open from the top. So we faced like so many roadblocks in the way. Like I was convinced that the play was not going to happen. But like, there was still this sort of faith, like, no, even if the cynic in me says that this is not gonna happen, whatever 5% faith I have, I'm going to put my all in and I'm going to work so hard to try and make this happen so that even if it doesn't, at least I know I tried. Like I won't have any regrets. So I think that kind of keeps me going. Just like giving in your all and trying your hardest so that at the end of it, you take away like no regrets. Leave you leave that entire scenario feeling like, okay, I tried my best. Like I gave it my all, no matter what the outcome was.
That's super motivating. I just have to say, I think you have to get invited for a TED talk, literally ASAP. I mean, I have to say, if I was a recruiter, I would hire you right now because the amount of dedication you put into that play. I mean, I've not really seen you guys practicing, but I mean, I've seen videos on Instagram about you guys planning and all that stuff, and it's so inspiring. And I think it's an inspiration for everyone who wants to probably start something of their own. And there's so many people like that, honestly, but they all probably have one obstacle, which is low self esteem, which is that they might not believe in themselves as much as they should. Maybe because of, that negative self talk or whatever, like you mentioned. And I think you stand as an inspiration for all of them. And I just want to finish this off with one last question. And I think when we were just talking casually, you had mentioned that you had started, like, this is a very, like, unrelated to what we've been talking about, but you mentioned that you started your driving classes experience I think it was it a year back or a few months back, I'm not sure. But you had
It
mentioned
was,
that,
yeah, it was a couple years back.
okay. And you mentioned that you failed in the initial assessment and you did not return back. So tell us about that.
First of all, thank you for all the kind words. I would not say that I'm inspiring. I'm still learning very much, but it's really nice to know that you think so. On to your question. So rejection as a whole is a huge fear for me. And I think lots of people can relate to this because I see so many posts on LinkedIn about like uh, rejection is redirection and all of those things. And they're meant to make you feel better, but every time I read stuff like that, it just makes me feel like it's a consolation prize. Um, and this is something that I still struggle with. So after I failed my initial driving assessment, I was so embarrassed that I failed at driving that I never went back to try again. And like the thing is, it wasn't about the test. Like driving was okay. I could handle it and I didn't mind going back for that again. But it was more of what failing the test represented because I felt like I wasn't good enough. Like that one setback made me feel like I am not good enough to do anything. And like I just completely stopped classes. Like it's been 2 years and I still haven't gone back. So rejection, like till date, it scares me to the point where I stop myself from trying. Like there have been opportunities that I really wanted to pursue, but then I don't go for them because I'm so scared of the potential rejection that I might face. And it's more like I feel like I'm protecting myself, but it's more of me self-sabotaging because I'm just skipping out on so many opportunities. But I feel like what I'm trying to embrace now, like on this very recently, is that every rejection is sort of like it's a stepping stone. Because as I mentioned in the previous question, try your hardest to the point that even if you don't succeed, you don't have any regrets. So I'm trying to live by that mindset. And I'm also trying to come to terms with the idea that um, again, this might sound a little bit cliche, but like there's this quote that says, like, what is meant for you will find you. So I would say I'm a religious person. So I sort of resonate this with this a lot because uh it it always makes me feel better to know that no matter what, the universe or like that higher entity has has a plan for me, for all of us.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that I've been trying to ingrain in myself. And it's definitely still tough when you're in the moment. Like if I face a rejection tomorrow, you will hear me, you know, constantly like I'll be constantly like putting myself down for it. And I will not be this positive spirit that I'm embodying right now. But it's something that I'm working on. And I feel like it's a journey that is not like it's not just one straight line. It's a very dynamic journey. So it's something that you have to learn as you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think um we've all heard this saying that it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. And I love how you mentioned that you're working on it, and that's just how things are. Like if something is meant to be, it will find you. And don't worry, it's not cliche at all. It's the truth. And I mean, I do have to agree, driving in Dubai is just not it. Like, especially the institutes, like, I mean, I remember I failed like, I think 3 4 times. And in my third attempt or something, I literally went to my mom crying and I was just like, yeah, I'm not coming back. But my mom was just like, but then I still came back. But then like, and I do have to agree, like sometimes it can make you feel like you're not good enough. Like it really, because no matter how hard you keep trying, like it's just, the system has become just so annoying, especially the parking where like, even if you touch the yellow line a bit, it's like you're failed. But in real life, no one actually like cares. Like, so it's a very exhausting journey, I do have to agree. And I do not miss one bit of driving classes because I hated that. But I do have to agree that after driving, I've definitely become a more, like, I've just understood that sometimes things just take time for no reason at all. Or maybe there's a reason. But yeah, I've just understood to be more patient with things, even though I can be very impatient at times. But yeah, I think it's just a phase I'm trying to forget of driving. But yeah, I really love talking with you about all of this. Thank you so much for, first of all, for reaching out to me. It really does mean a lot to me. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today. And see you guys in the next episode.